This is an introduction to two sets of videos which use music to relate the history of outdoor design to periods in the history of art. The first set deals with gardens and landscapes, usually in single ownership. The second set, with landscape architecture in the titles, has the same content but with a preface about the influence of the ideas on larger areas with many uses and many landowners, villages, towns and cities. There is, of course, a close relationship between landscape architecture and garden design. Both involve the composition of 5 primary elements: landform, water, vegetation, buildings and pavings. The differences come from the client groups they serve. Garden design is normally for individuals and for pleasure. Landscape architecture is normally for communities and includes other land uses as well as pleasure. This distinction guides the choice of theories to underpin the two arts. In terms of design objectives, both groups rely on Vitruvius, aiming to make places with good social, technical and artistic qualities. Landscape architects probably pay more attention to the natural and social sciences, including ecology, hydrology, urban design and art theory. Garden designers tend to be more familiar with planting design, horticulture and garden construction. It's not their primary role, of course, but gardens can be experimental vessels, crucibles, for community landscape architecture. The standard works on the history of landscape architecture are the books by Norman T. Newton and by Geoffrey and Susan Jellicoe. They deal with both private gardens and community landscapes. Jellicoe's set of chapter titles relates to chronology and geography, but subsections within chapters deal with the issues an art historian would discuss, including social history, environmental conditions, philosophy, expression, etc. Newton's titles are less systematic in that they're drawn from chronology, faiths, art history, geography, biography, and categories of work. Both authors use a word and image approach, which is necessary. Text only could be used, but it would be difficult. And what designers probably want is images explained with words, rather than the other way about. In producing their book on the landscape of man, Geoffrey was the captain and Susan was the crew. She took most of the photographs herself and sourced the others very systematically. Geoffrey drew the plans and wrote the text. The extended captions, which are brilliant, were probably a joint enterprise. Susan had a keen intellect, a sharp eye, a well-developed critical faculty, and a great sense of humour. The book they produced is strong in words and images, but particularly strong in their integration. Music offers another approach to understanding the cultural context of gardens and landscapes, and in the set of videos I'm introducing, it's used in conjunction with text and images. Musicologists use many of the same terms as art historians, including medieval, Renaissance, Baroque, and Romantic. But they use classical instead of neoclassical for the 18th century, probably because so little is known about ancient music. They don't use the term arts and crafts, but the work of, for example, Vaughan Williams and Percy Grainger was influenced by similar pre-Raphaelite ideas to those which influenced the painters and designers of the period. The oldest musical instruments date from 60,000 years ago, and since Paleolithic people slept in temporary tent-like structures, their pipes are likely to have been played out of doors to accompany singers and dancers. Greek and Roman art shows outdoor musicians, and from the last 600 years there are many illustrations of performances in landscapes and gardens. If you'd like to know more about garden design, please see the gardenvisit.com website. And if you'd like to know more about landscape architecture, please see the Q&A section of the landscapearchitecture.org.uk website.